Hello everyone and welcome back to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy. My name is Eugene and tonight we've got Mono Red Lukka versus Mono Red Painter. On the left we have Steven playing a Mono Red Lukka Coppercoat Outcast list. This deck can also be referred to as Lukka Breach. This deck is based all around using that tick down effect of exiling a creature you control to find a creature with a bigger CMC in your deck. Now, this is usually accomplished as early as turn 1 with the Planebound Accomplice. Putting down this creature, being able to pay that 1, maybe with exiling a Simian Spirit Guide, and then you exile the Planebound Accomplice itself, and there's no other creature in the deck that has less than 3 CMC, unless you're talking about either Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, or Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. So turn 1 Emrakul is pretty tough to beat for most people. This deck also runs 3 through the Breach to be able to cheat one of your fatties into play, just in case the Planebound Accomplice doesn't work out or doesn't show up in your hand. Of course, this deck almost functions a little bit like a Big Red. It has 3 Goblin Rabblemaster, 3 Magus of the Moon, and 3 Sorcerer Spyglass and Chalice of the Void, kind of just assuring that you get past turn 1 or turn 2 to be able to go off with your combo. Combating this strategy on the right is Maxwell with our Mono Red Painter list. This deck is very straightforward, one of the original versions of Painter Servant combo. The entire idea is to get your Painter Servant into play, change everything to a single color. Maybe it's blue, maybe it's something else. And then, of course, play your Grindstone and mill out the library. That is the entire deck. This deck also runs the Karn package, which has the Wish board, grabbing any artifact out of the sideboard. So if you want to win with the Mycosynth Lattice combo, you can go ahead and do that too. It can also find you the Painter Servant that you need. So this deck has multiple lines of winning and often can win by turn 2 or 3, usually turn 4 at the latest. So now that we know all about these 2 mono red decks that aren't burn, let's go ahead and see how the matches go. Looks like we have Steven on the play here. Starting out with that Mountain Pass. Now, these Maguses aren't going to be very good against Maxwell. Although he does have a lot of fast mana here. We're actually seeing a turn 1 Painter Servant, which is not great for Steven here. We do see that he does get that Magus into play with a Crystal Vein. So shutting down that fast mana off the Ancient Tomb, 1 red, a Lightning Bolt, 1 damage in with the Painter Servant. Lightning Bolt being able to take care of all kinds of problems. Still a fantastic card. 3 damage. We're seeing the Fable of the Mirror Breaker, just a great red card in general coming into play here. Taking 2 damage for it, being able to create that Goblin that is going to make treasure tokens. You know, just advancing that mana state pretty much every turn after it comes in and being able to, what is it, revert loose? I don't remember what it's called. Rummage, I think it's called. Being able to discard 2 cards and draw 2 cards. So that's what's going to happen here. Discarding a Mox Opal, drawing a card. Maxwell's still not seeing that Grindstone. He does have that Urza Saga in hand, though, so... Oh, that wasn't an Urza Saga. That was actually Karn Great Creator, the fancy one. So he's going to go get a Mycosynth Lattice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he does already have 6 mana here. Planebound Accomplice. And Maxwell says, no thanks. I know what that's going to do. And just in case you want to take a look at it, put the Planeswalker from your hand. So he had to have Lukka in hand as well, which he might have. Oh, we see McCarty going off real hard here. Simian Spirit Guide into Seething Song into Planebound Accomplice, getting Lukka into play, doing that -2. Seething Song, of course, making 5 mana. Yep. Off of the Ancient Tomb. So this is the turn 1 Ulamog. Hot stuff. So Maxwell goes to count out 20 cards off the top of his library. And he says, you know what, let's go to game 3. So we are into game 3 here. We're seeing a turn 1 Painter Servant. The Sandstone Needle, creating 2 mana. Comes into play tapped, though, and we're already seeing a grindstone. So unless McCarty can deal with this Painter Servant right now... What is this? I'm not sure what that spell was that he just fired off. Almost looks like the uncounterable card. If you have 3 or more things in your graveyard, then it's uncounterable. The 4 damage one, I can't remember what it's called. But looks like it was counterable in that situation there, the Pyroblast. So everything was blue. This is kind of interesting. We're seeing Emrakul. Whenever Emrakul the Aeon Torrens is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard. And so that grindstone goes off, but it doesn't really matter because Emrakul shuffles the deck back in and stops the process. Or at least the entire process happens. The whole graveyard goes in, Emrakul's trigger goes on the stack, and is able to shuffle the library back together. So Maxwell goes, okay, well, here's a Soul Guide Lantern. And so we're going to be able to exile each opponent's graveyard in response to the trigger on the stack. So the graveyard is going to be gone, the whole thing, after this grindstone is resolved. And that's the game. So getting around that shuffle trigger, pretty big deal. So we see the cards that the players pulled out of their sideboards. I don't think Steven was running any sideboard, so he's just kind of showing that Through the Breach was the other method he had of getting his creature into play. Maxwell showing us a Pithing Needle and the 3 Mindbreak traps in his sideboard coming in here. That totally makes sense since Pithing Needle can name the Planebound Accomplice, and the Mindbreak trap being able to, well, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully Steven isn't able to go off. This is trying to catch the Planebound Accomplice, I think. If he has a couple mana spells, like he plays a Lotus Petal and then he plays a Seething Song and then he goes for Planebound Accomplice, then it would catch that. But it's not the most ideal, as the turn doesn't always require 3 spells to be cast. But I can definitely see why he brought it in, since it was pretty much the only thing that that he could besides that 1 Pithing Needle. So once that was all said and done, it looks like Mono Red Painter was able to take it over the Lukka combo deck, 2-1. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If this is your first time here, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Now that we are a part of the Collector Legion family, we should be able to get videos out a little more consistently and stream a little more consistently, so that's very exciting. We want to thank both Collector Legion and Spellhold Games for allowing us to record in the play space, since we would not exist without them. And if you are interested in these deck lists, they are always included in the description of this channel, as well as a link to the visual deck list on our Instagram. And that's going to do it for us. Until next time, I've been Eugene, and this is Tuesday Night Legacy. We'll see ya.